Hi everyone, it's Al from Boston. It's 3 o'clock right now on the 6th. I wanted to make a quick video regarding some things that are worrying me in terms of the squeeze that I think you should know about. A couple quick things. I'm going to probably shut off my Twitter in a couple days. I just want to make sure that we do that call, and I express as much stuff as I possibly can to you in regards to the content of the squeeze and what's going to happen, and all the minutia that goes involved in it. I think, for the most part, how I feel about the numbers, how I feel about how it will go in terms of the treachery that the market makers are going to inflict. And I'm going to go over a couple of it with you today in this video, and then I'll probably have another more in-depth and thorough examination tomorrow during the call. And after that, I'll probably, a couple of days later, I'll probably just shut down. I have a couple of things I'm going to be doing before I go, which is mostly regarding social media and allowing our group of communities, who as fractured as nuts as it is, to have a platform in which they can launch from and talk about, when this thing happens and there's treachery, to their leadership in their home states, their governors, their Senate, their state, everybody. The day this happens and they try to pull some nonsense, you should absolutely have every phone number, email address, LinkedIn, and Twitter account ready to go. And because when I feel like there's going to be treachery now, because I'm starting to see the writings on the walls and I'm starting to see the posturing. And that tells me that there is going to definitely be something going on. Just this morning, seeing that article with Ken Griffin keeping everyone's money should indicate that they are desperate right now and the squeeze is imminent. I don't have a time or a date for you, but it's pretty obvious that this is going to happen. Additionally, China is bailing out Evergrande, but they're not bailing out American investors. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let me start in order, and we'll just kick it off from here. Limit orders exceeding current price and getting an error message. Okay, this is when you put in a limit order. Let's say you're selling it, and it goes, and you want to set a limit at 50,000, right? So when the price hits 50,000, the alarm goes off, and then boom, you got a sale inside the machine, the terminal. It doesn't get filled. It just keeps going, right? And it goes to 150, 160, and then it gets cashed. That is basically an error message. It's saying, or let's say you try to cancel it and you get an error message. That is their way of making money off of you. So if you have 10,000 shares of AMC and it goes to 150,000 and you have a sell limit at 100,000, you're getting, or they're making $50,000 off of each one of your 10,000 shares. So that's why I always tell people, don't put any orders in. It also creates downward pressure. And I think that's just a smart, common sense way of doing it. Don't ever put a sell limit in. Don't ever put anything in the computer, because they could turn around and I'm telling you right now, kids, if you put something in the computer and you hit send order, or it's parked somewhere for an order to hit, you have no idea what these people are capable of. They could see those orders and fill them at a much lower price. Who knows what they're going to do? They could cite systemic risk being the issue. I want you to remember that. And I also want you to remember there are 52 ETFs out there that have 32 million shares of AMC. The largest allocation going to sci-fi. It's like sci-fi or sci-FY or whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. And Russell's got the most, I think, also a pretty substantial amount. I don't know what these guys are going to do with their shares. I don't know if they're going to ride us to the moon, or if they're going to pop smoke. If they're going to leave, they're going to try to dump all these shares on us. If they're going to park their shares with the market maker trying to bulk sell drop. Remember that. It's where they consolidate all the paper hands and all the different people selling, and when it reaches a certain number, they drop it all at once, and then it's like catching the falling knife, the proverbial knife. And when that does happen, and it will happen multiple times, especially in the $100 to the $1,000 range, which is their death spiral, don't freak out, don't panic, don't do anything, just let it rise back up, and it will rise back up. But we want them to expend everything. We want the natural, the pressure it creates from being squeezed to go back, bring the stock back up. And eventually what's going to happen is, once we reach a certain number, Citadel's already being dealt with by the DTC. There are no more hedge funds. It's just us, and that's it, the smooth sailing. There's going to be a natural equilibrium. What that means is Natural equilibrium is where that stock is going to rise up to initially, right? And now this is an infinity squeeze. The longer we hold, the higher it goes. That's how the mechanics of it works. But I believe in the beginning, there will be a natural equilibrium that does occur. It's that resting spot where everything is kind of computers like, you know, regenerating and recalculating everything. And I think that initial resting spot is a disaster zone waiting to happen. It's a fire waiting to happen, because that is where people think, oh, the squeeze is over. That's the squeeze. And they're going to sell. Don't sell there. That's where, just so the stock rests until the computer recalibrates and goes on to the next level of the next level of pricing. So don't do that. All right. So Lou had mentioned reverse dilution of stock. This is a real thing. I don't know what it is right now, but I want to just go over this with you. You guys are kind of threw Lou under the bus about this, because this is actually a true thing. This actually is a real thing. I called one of my professors. He says this is a very rare thing, and the only people that employ it is, guess who? Hedge funds. As soon as I said to him, reverse dilution, he's like, are you messing around with hedge funds? And I was like, yeah, kind of. He's like, well, that's just something that they do. It's very rare. And I think it was only from what he says, it was only to OTC stocks. That's when they started doing this, and it was ages ago. I don't know if they're still doing it now. I don't know what our numbers look like in terms of naked shorts, synthetics right now. So it's still up in the air. And I want you guys to be aware of that thing. Just keep it in the back of your mind. But Lou was right on that, and keep that in mind. Keep a weather eye on the level twos and see if there's any major sell-offs pre-MOAS. Pre-MOAS. In other words, if it's at 90 or 100, just keep an eye on the volume that day and just see who's selling how much of it. And, I know there's no way to really keep count of how many people sell, but I think the vast majority of people will sell. I would encourage you to hold past certain numbers, because you might not get them. And that's why I keep telling people, you might think you're going to be selling at 15,000. You might not get that price. That's why I tell people, wait till it goes to 25,000, 100,000, whatever, make it really high and everybody hold, and then you could sell and get a really great price. And plus there's young guys and young families in here that only have a few shares. And I feel bad if they didn't make some money out of this, like real money, like a couple $1 million at least. There's so much wealth to be had, and all we have to do is just hold. So it doesn't make sense for everyone to just sell at one price and, just quote, ride the wave and go from there. All right, more important stuff. This is a real issue right here. Okay. Goldman and Bank of America. Goldman and Bank of America are both in the GME play, right? They're they're not market makers. They're more they're investment banks. They're big banks, right? Goldman and Bank of America are the bigger banks that are in this play. They are the people that are exposed to the most risk. We're talking systemic risk, and this is what will prompt Gensler, Powell, and PPT. PPT is a plunge protection team, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And of course, POTUS to act on their behalf, which means they're going to try to scare you out of your position, right? So here's PPT. Let me tell you about PPT. PPT is an organization that was built in 1989, after 88 rather, after the 87 crash. It was to make sure that systemic risk is mitigated, or at least somewhat, tried to smooth over, so the market doesn't completely crash. These guys are empowered only through the president and Powell. Gensler can make recommendations to Powell. Powell and PPT act on the behalf of the president. They execute executive order. And I don't know how this is going to turn out for those two clowns. I think those kids over at GME are super pissed. I think they're going to try to hold for X amount of dollars. And I think they might get, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know why weird things could happen. And I want you to be aware of that. But these guys here, the Bank of America and the Goldman folks, since they have such a strong connection with Gensler being employed there for 20 years, I want you to know that there's probably going to be some kind of fuckery. I don't know what, but they can't legally force you out of the position. I don't know how they would do it. I mean, they could give us all a number where it's like, okay, everybody gets $5,000 for a share for this, and that's it. And that's systemic risk mitigated. I don't know if they're going to do that. They might do that, but I want you to be aware of that. All right. It could happen. And if that happens, there's going to be a media plan in place where I want you guys just to tweet the hell out of it, get every social media, all your friends, your family, your cousins, all of them on social media, all your local congressmen, all your local lawmakers, senators, Gary Gensler, all those people on Twitter. Let the entire media know. The media is the ring, is the circus, right? If you're going to run a circus, make sure you're the ringleader. Okay, that means you are getting the media involved. You are tweeting them, you're calling them, you're letting everybody know. If this happens and it goes pear-shaped, you need to make sure that all the media knows about this, and you have to make sure that you are diligent about it. That means your friends, your family. Like I said, you have to get everybody involved. It's not just us, and make sure the people in LinkedIn know as well. You have to make sure that that happens. But if Gary Gensler and Powell get together and they start doing some fuckery, just make sure that you're aware of what's happening. Be in the know. Be connected to the community. Be connected to the internet in terms of breaking news and Bloomberg and whatever else. By that time, there'll be so much media and eyeballs on this thing that we'll be able to get enough coverage, if you will, if they try to screw us over like they did in January. Additionally, watch out for 2-day trading halts. That is a possibility as well. They can go all the way up to 30 days, and I think some cases 45 days. That's going to be their biggest brush off period. They're going to try to weasel it out of their obligations by halting trading for 30, 45 days. Don't do it. Don't leave. I mean, if you waited this long, 30 days is nothing. And that's just them trying to catch their breath, getting liquidity through other plays. I don't even care how they get their liquidity at this point. I just want to make sure that we squeeze and we get our money's worth. So if that means they do crypto plays, they have to liquidate their longs, or they have to use that as collateral to get more money, so be it. I don't care about them. That being said, this is probably going to be one of my last videos. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found value in it, let people know about it. And that's all I have for you. Once again, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.